Great. It's David from I Need an Expert, your online marketing platform for local experts in the area. Every Wednesday at this time, we introduce a CEO to you today. So today we have the pleasure of introducing to you Goodnews Cadogan. Goodnews Cadogan is from a company called CUBED. Yes, CUBED. Welcome to you, Goodnews. Great to have you here on the platform today. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Yes, good day, David, and I'm happy to be here, and I hope that we're going to have a very wonderful chat.
Fantastic. This is an amazing name that you have for your business, Goodnews. And what I want to ask you is just if you could give us a brief overview of what your business does, and then we'll go into some more detail about it.
Yes, thank you very much, David. Our company does collaborations with other companies that share the same vision and also the same business activities as we do. And then the other thing that we do is coaching, business coaching, professional life coaching. So we help leaders to actually be great at what they do. And then the third thing that we do is consulting, working with companies inside the companies and consulting and helping them to improve strategy, to improve business process, to improve business systems, and also to improve the culture of the organizations that they are. And then the other thing that we do is mentorship. So we help mentors meet mentees, and we regulate and sort of manage the contracting and the execution of mentorship programs across various organizations. And also we do training, and then I also teach as well at the University of Stellenbosch at the business school in areas of transformational leadership and multiculturalism, helping the students to realize the importance of a multicultural lens when leading organizations.
Wow, good news. That's quite a lot of different things that you do. But let's just focus more so on, your business, the business leadership and the coaching that you're doing. And what I'd really like to understand, obviously there are many coaches out there and there are many people out there that actually offer these type of services. But what are the specific problems that your business actually resolves for your potential customers?
Most of the problems that we solve are sitting in the area of relationships, how people relate. And when we explain this whole thing of relationship, that relationships are first relating with the self, it becomes like a surprise to people because they don't expect to have to relate with themselves. And when as human beings, we start intentionally to relate with ourselves, it makes it easier for us to relate with other people. So it's the relating component of the being that we work with. And then on the other side, we work with the execution of the task. And the execution of the task, it depends on the level at which professionals or leaders operate. So at times it could be a strategic execution of the task, and at times it becomes a tactical execution of the task, and at certain points it becomes an operational execution of the task. So we work at all three different levels to help to get the leaders to execute and organizations to execute better, and also on the other side to relate better. So self-relationships, relating with others, and then collectively working with the culture of organizations to create intentionally a culture that is aligned with the strategy of the organization.
Oh, wow. So basically what you're doing is your ideal customer would be a company where there's perhaps some conflict between the various different parties. Is that correct?
It may well be a conflict, but maybe a gap between where they are and where they want to be.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, perhaps it's a situation where there's a goal, they're not achieving that goal, and now what you come in and you offer a solution to actually help them to actually create good relations in order to move towards that goal and identify an action plan. Would that summarize what you do?
Definitely. And the goal is not necessarily sitting on the execution part only. It also sits on the relationship side. So they may have goals about how to relate, as opposed to just having goals of how to execute.
Okay. So basically, your ideal customer would be what, if you had to put it into a nutshell?
Our ideal customer is on the side of individuals, is a leader that has come to realization that they are not meeting the requirements of their leadership mandate. Because all leaders have a mandate. So whether you're a CEO of a company or an MD of a company or an executive director of a nonprofit, you have a mandate that the board or the shareholders have given to you. And if I am not meeting the requirements of that mandate as a leader, I then get to contact a company like ours, and we'll help you to create the agenda that will close the implementation gap insofar as your mandate is concerned. Fantastic. That is the ideal client, yes.
Fantastic. So you offer the solution of actually bringing the parties together to achieve the mandate and to allow the leader to actually achieve what he's responsible to do within that organization.
Definitely, by collaborating with their team, because if there is no collaboration between the leader and the team, execution is not going to happen and the relationships are not going to be good. And then there will be what then is loosely referred to as politics and politicking, because now people cannot name what is it that is causing the implementation gap. What is it that is causing the culture being so fuzzy and shapeless, so to speak. So we give shape to the culture and we give shape to the execution prowess so that the relationships are such that execution becomes easier.
Fantastic.
And we use diagnostics for that. We diagnose and we help people to see more of who they are, to see more of what others are, and to see more of what the organization is all about. And because they have got that knowledge now, they can use it not to judge, but to strategize to close the gap between where we are and where they want to be.
Thank you, Goodnews. Now, this is obviously a very much needed skill that is required here, especially in South Africa and in Africa. And one of the things I'd like to understand is the solution that you offer is what? How do you actually bring the parties together to strategize, to shape, and to bring together them to actually meet the mandate that has been set?
So the solution sits in three areas. The first one is in the area of facilitation, facilitating and becoming the sort of mediator between different parties in an organization. The second part of the solution sits in the coaching, helping the different parties to be able to do what they're supposed to do. And the coaching sits in three types of coaching. There's one-on-one coaching, there is team coaching, and there's also group coaching. So in group coaching is not necessarily an intact team, but it could be a group of people that have got a common interest that we coach such that they are able to execute on whatever it is, and they are able to collaborate as such. And then apart from the coaching and the facilitation, the other part is the consulting, working alongside our clients and helping them with various tools that we have acquired over a period of time to help them to solve problems. And the tools could be tools of analysis. It could be tools of implementation. It could be monitoring and evaluation type of tools, so that whatever it is that they have done from conception all the way to implementation, they are able to track and find ways to know whether they are succeeding or not. Yes, so that's how we help. It's consulting, it's coaching, it's facilitation.
Fantastic, good news. I really like what you are proposing. Tell us a little bit about the background of CUBED and how it came about to be offering this type of service to your potential customers.
Yes, so in my corporate life, I left corporate life in 2008. And I joined a gentleman by the name of Christonel, who is well known in the leadership and consulting and academic world. And he helped me to understand the world of consulting. So basically, he became my mentor and business partner as well. So I joined him in a company called the Village Leadership Consulting. And there were 6 of us in the company who were company directors and also coaches and consultants. And we used his body of work to actually do the stuff that CUBED is doing now. And over a period of time, I realized that coaching is important. And then I enrolled for a coaching program with Integral Coaching Canada. And at that point, it then helped me to shape what then became CUBED later. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we then unbundled the Village Leadership Consulting. And then Christo has got a different lifestyle that is following now. And then I set up CUBED, and the first C of collaboration is what actually describes the DNA of our company. The DNA of our company is not a hierarchical corporate company which has got overheads of staff and many people working for it. We're using a collaborative model. We've got various consultants and coaches and mentors and academics that we work with. And then on the basis of projects that we have, we come together and deliver to our clients, and we help our clients to be great at what they do the way I have explained.
Wow, fantastic. So you've actually implemented something that we are only now, generally as businesses are implementing, where you're actually using different companies to assist you, or different expertises, people with different expertise to help you to achieve an end result, rather than having a huge overhead structure of employed people, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I think that's the future of working in the world. So congratulations to you, good news.
Thank you. Thank you.
You say this business now has been running since 2008. Is that correct?
No, this business has been running for about 5 years now. But from 2008 until 5 years ago, we were part of the Village Leadership Consulting. Then when we unbundled that 5 years ago, CUBED became.
Fantastic. So now, what I'd like to understand is a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you're very passionate about this whole process that you're doing, and the implementation and the coaching, etc. But tell us a little bit about how you yourself came into this sphere of to doing this type of work.
I have got a sort of a checkered kind of background in my career. I've done a lot of different things. Firstly, let me just talk about my personal life. I was born in Port Elizabeth, and I grew up there, and now it's called Gqeberha, GQ in short.
The windy city.
Yes, very windy, but friendly as well.
Absolutely.
So, definitely, yes. So my life, my career life sort of traveled a very nice journey from electro-technical engineering into manufacturing management, into human resources management, and into public policy and administration, including even enforcement and tax administration. So that's how I have become to be who I am today. I have an equal amount of passion for the hard sciences, to the same extent that I have a passion for the soft sciences and the people and the relating and the culture kind of things. And then when our democracy came, it was a very good opportunity for me to be part of a wave of leaders who were now seeking to meet the wave of democracy halfway in the business world by creating what we then called values-based leadership. So in values-based leadership was to actually create what we have now and say, if we are going to operate in South Africa, businesses have to have a very straight line of view with our constitution, that is, the rule of law and the rights and obligations that citizens have. And if then that is the driver behind that, it means the workplace doesn't just become democratized and people have more rights, but they have got an obligation to serve the client. They've got an obligation to serve a colleague and respect a colleague. And because of that, you create then these organizations that we are trying to create through coaching, consulting, mentorship, and training that have got people who can see each other, people who can feel each other, and people who are committed to doing things for each other. Those are the three operating things. I see you because I recognize you as a human being, and I can relate with you from a heart to heart because I have emotions that make me to care for you as David. And because I care for you, I then collaborate with you in the work environment to do things. So I put my body behind what I think and feel to actually deliver to the client.
Wow.
That is the basis of what I do. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I think, I mean, you know, if you look at all good ways of actually working together, etc., I mean, what you've done is you've encompassed the whole group. And I think that's what you know, your CUBED, I mean, that's the DNA, and what you've just elaborated is exactly what you do and how you actually get your the solution that you offer. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing that. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
So obviously now you've involved into this organization that's helping these other organizations achieve the leaders achieve their mandates through the methodology that you've expressed. But what is the next step as far as your business is concerned? How do you see yourself growing actually to help not just here in South Africa, but the whole of Africa? How do you see yourself evolving to help companies and leaders in this this world of ours?
Yes, you were looking at my connections on LinkedIn, and you sort of were in admiration for the 20,000 people that I'm linked with. And I believe that that is the embodiment of the first C of CUBED in terms of collaboration. When I brag to my potential clients, I always say to them, our company is poised to put together any team for anything in the world, because we not only, those 20,000 people are from all over the world. Some of them are from the USA, some of them are from Europe, and some of them are from the Middle East, some of them are from North Africa, and some of them from Central Africa, and then from Southern Africa, and also even in countries like Japan, we have got connections there, and also in Australia. So in answering your question around what next and what's the big thing that CUBED is gunning for, is to actually take a large piece of both the consulting and the coaching piece, and actually use our clout in collaboration to become, I would like to say, CUBED should be the kind of company that you can't talk about coaching without mentioning us. So there are companies, I'm just being very careful now in terms of which companies I mentioned, but there are companies like Gemini Consulting, for example, that are known for consulting in the area of marketing and marketing strategy. So you can't really talk about how you can get or gain market share without talking about Gemini. So we want to be in that space whereby you can't talk about coaching. And our coaching, because we are on the continent and we love the continent, I'm known in interviews that I do with a station in Cameroon, an online TV station that focuses on the continent in terms of news and current affairs and anything that goes on the continent. I am known there as a Pan-African coach. And I believe that if investors come to the continent, they should not just come because of our resources and our people. They should come because they love being here. And if we are going to coach leaders to be great and they're on the continent, we're going to help them to love Africa so that they can relate well and also execute well on the continent because they are in love with everything that is African.
Fantastic.
That is our goal, is to be known for coaching and also to be known for being the epitome of the social instinct, so to speak.
Wow, that's fantastic aspiration, and I wish you all the best in achieving that. We're talking about, other companies, and one of the questions I have for you is about, obviously there are other companies that are out there that are your competitors.
Yes.
So how do you differentiate yourself from those competitors?
I think authenticity is the biggest differentiator for us, and the love for the continent. I can safely say, because we use diagnostics in the work that we do, I can safely say that more than 80% of the companies that are doing our work, the work that we do, are not genuinely in love with the continent. And they don't help the companies that they consult or coach for to fall in love with the continent, so that it becomes a company or a company, a sector, a country, a region, a continent in which people are proud of being African. And being African is very difficult because many people have been sort of socialized to only see what they see on the outside. So the fact that I'm Black, it doesn't necessarily mean that I love Africa. You have to be able to see beyond the aesthetics of the person, the aesthetics of the company. We help companies to unravel that, to unpack who they are, because we use credible scientific tools to actually unpack these things. You are able to say a leader is like this, a team is like that, a business unit is like that, an enterprise is like that, and a sector is most likely to behave this way or that way. And we're using various tools that help whatever we say, it becomes a scientific statement, a truth that helps companies to become authentic, so that when they claim to be something, they are genuinely that. That is our differentiator, the truth.
I love it. I love it. Now, you're part of the CEO Business Club, and there are a number of CEOs here, and obviously there will be a number of CEOs that be watching this video that we're recording and this interview. What is your big ask to those CEOs that are part of the CEO Business Club? What is your big ask to them? How can we assist you in achieving your aspirations and your dreams and your goals?
If we are going to really impact Africa positively, we have to embrace some of the organizations that we have ignored as business people. My big ask is for CEOs here to actually honor and see the NEPAD Business Foundation. Because the NEPAD Business Foundation is more like the Commonwealth Business Foundation that brings all of the former Commonwealth countries together to create a kind of collaboration that makes them to actually exist long after the colonial era has also sort of passed. So the NEPAD Business Foundation is a kind of an organization that can help us as CEOs on the continent to actually create a business agenda for the continent. There's a lot that we can do if we see ourselves as CEOs on the continent doing business. Because it's not the political framework that is going to make economic gains. The business leaders and the CEOs on this club are the ones that are going to actually make Africa to have the same clout as the other unions, like, for example, the European Union. The European Union is helping businesses in Europe to be the best that they can be through collaboration and many things that they do. So by just looking at the business foundation and finding a reason to be part of it, all right? And then it becomes easier then to create this wave of oneness that helps us to create sector-based agendas that take Africa to a particular level of clout, so that in the end, we do not suffer from what in development sector we call the resource curse, but it should be like a resource blessing. The fact that we've got all these resources, including food products, and we are not able to actually have an African Union or the NEPAD business group that actually exports these in their beneficiated forms, it makes for loss of jobs for the many young people on the continent. They are not employed because we as business leaders are not creating the employment that is required to actually drive this economy. The African economy is going to rest on a foundation of beneficiation. And if that is going to happen, we're going to have to, as business leaders, speak with one voice and not wait for a cue from the politicians, so to speak. Yes.
I totally agree with that, Goodnews. You know, you're talking about the youth, and one of the things you mentioned earlier on was the fact that you lecture at Stellenbosch University. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do there and how you help the youth in respect to that?
Yes, I meet very young people there that are hungry for knowledge, and they are ready to actually conquer the world. So there are two programs there at the University of Stellenbosch that I'm on. One is the postgraduate leadership diploma in leadership, and the other one is the postgraduate diploma in project management. And both these programs offer a wide range of people in terms of age, race, gender, and culture. And it actually gives me hope every time I go there. Every time I sort of lecture, they engage and ask questions that older people don't ask. They are not scared to ask difficult questions, and they have got big dreams. And I think it's the older people that are holding maybe the continent back, because they are not as courageous, not as innovative. And I think that the future of our country, the SADC region, the continent as a whole, depends on us supporting young people to actually achieve their dreams. So by not expanding what we do on the continent from an industrial point of view, we are actually stifling the growth of the younger people, and we are not creating enough jobs for them to find reason to stay on the continent.
Wow, well, that's amazing, and I totally agree with you. It's our youth that's going to change Africa. We just got to be there to hold their hands and support them and give them the right direction. And I take my hat off to you for I've got a hat on, for what you're doing there. You know, it's great to be able to not only, you know, to give back and to actually train our youth, and it's a much needed you know, need in this country to actually train our youth and to give them the right direction to go in. So congratulations to you for doing that.
Thank you very much, David.
Good news. What is your winning aspiration?
What do you mean by that, David?
Well, if you had to summarize what your winning aspiration is, what would you, if you had to give me advice, okay, or the people out there, the youngsters, the new generation that will take over, what would you give them? What would you actually, what would your advice be to that?
I think one of the things that I ask teams when I work with them, I ask them to tell me what their superpower is. And I think your question is sort of linked to that. And if I were to answer in that fashion and define what my superpower is and what I would like to offer as a superpower to others on the continent, it would be, the first is self-awareness. When I know myself, it means I can not easily be manipulated to actually shift and change my agenda, because all of us, we've got an agenda. And for my agenda to manifest and to prosper and be successful, I need to know myself. And many people would go on holiday, would go and tour the world and see all of the wonders of the world, but they know very little about themselves. Self-awareness is the key to everything. And linked to self-awareness is the awareness of the other and the significant people around us. Because when I know David very well, it becomes very easy for me to support you and work with you in ways that are amazing and collaboration can happen. And the third kind of awareness is the awareness of the work that I do and know it in its different aspects. The strategic aspect of the work that I do, the tactical aspect of the work that I do, and also the operational aspect thereof. When I know that, it becomes easier. And the third and final thing that is important is conviction of my values. So if I have a worldview that has been crafted intentionally so, I then become attuned to that worldview. And I constantly massage the worldview by checking it against the significant others that I know in my business world, the teams that I work with, my clients, my suppliers, and everyone. So I play with these four awarenesses over a period of time in a never-ending cycle of infinity signs that actually help me to have a wider view of the present moment. So that, I would say, is the winning formula.
Wow, wow. That's deep, and that's really inspiring, what you just said, your superpower and self-awareness. I think in conclusion, I'd love you to just describe to the listeners and to those listening here about what is the meaning of C-cubed-M?
C-cubed-M, it came out of a mathematical kind of explanation of what we do. So C-cubed is 3 C's, and M is for mentorship. So the 3 C's in the work that we do come in the form of collaboration, collaborating with others, individuals and companies and governments to deliver on what we seek to do. And we do that through coaching and consulting. So those are the 3 C's. The C cubed comes from there, and the M is for mentorship.
Oh,
it's the T squared that is not there. The T squared would have been training and teaching.
I love that. Well, good news. This has been a fantastic interview. I know it's been impromptu, and I think you've done extremely well in answering the questions. And for me, I've got a much clearer picture of what you do and how you help people. I've got a much better understanding of how you help people and what your business is about. And from this, I can now actually go out there and actually market not only yourself, but your business, and let other people know exactly, what you do and how you help them and how they can benefit from actually contacting you. And I think with that is, how do they actually contact you, Good News? How do they get hold of you?
Firstly, it's on our LinkedIn profile. My LinkedIn profile is very visible there as Goodnews Cadogan. We are still working on our website because we are sort of moving from another platform into another one. So our website, when it is up and running, is going to be www.cccmt.co.za. And then on Twitter, it's Goodnews _ CADO. And then Coach Cadogan as well on Twitter. So that's how people can get hold of me. It's very easy to find me. And then also our email address is info@cccmt.co.za, or simply goodnews@cccmt.co.za. That's how people can get hold of me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I have some questions that have been posted on the chat, and anyone who's here listening, they wouldn't mind putting those questions in there. The first question I have for you is from Gerrit Buerter from CEO Business Club. He's asking here, how do you ensure sustainability through what you do within organizations?
Sustainability is a kind of a thing that we look at more like a reservoir of water. So when you drive around Midrand, you see these big reservoirs where they pump water up and it goes into that. And I think we have a similar kind of approach for sustainability. We believe that the coaches and consultants that work with us have got to be rejuvenated over time. So there are always retreats, there are always training programs that we offer them so that they can be sustainable in the way in which they support our clients. The training is always there, even though most of them, they come as qualified professionals, there is ongoing development. So professional development is an ongoing process. I spent the whole year last year studying the Enneagram with Enneagram Egypt for 12 months. And every year I invest in myself to actually make sure that I am well equipped to actually serve our clients in the best possible ways. And then also with our clients, it's cycles of development. Our coaching program is based on cycles of development. So you move from one cycle of development to the next, whether it's a team or an individual, there is a never-ending spiral of development that helps sustainability to actually be the norm rather than something that is an add-on. Yes.
I like the word cycle development. It's your 4th C.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
I have a question from Simon Natuli. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. It says, how do you know if the deficiency requires coaching as a solution?
The approach that we have with everything that we do is diagnostic driven. We never jump in and work with a client without applying diagnostics. We've learned from the engineering field that you first diagnose before you replace or remove a part. So even here, when we work with organizations, we conduct interviews, we conduct assessments, we conduct surveys, and we come up with a proper report that says this is what is needed here. So we are never wrong when it comes to the diagnosis that we have and the prognosis that we put on the table.
Good news. Thank you so much. That was the last question. And what I'd like to thank you for myself, from I Need an Expert, to thank you very much for this interview today. I know it was impromptu, and I think you did extremely well. I've learned a huge amount about you and your business, and now I know what C cubed M means with the fourth C. Cycles. And I love that. And it's been a real pleasure to have you here today. So thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us. And I look forward to meeting in person, and also to get onto the global expert network of I Need an Expert and the CEO Business Club. So thank you very much. Goodnews Cadogan, thank you very much for your input today and for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David, and thank you to your listeners and everybody.